everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to start matting our book. We did one already, but now we're really going to get into the matting. I did do the cover. I'm sure I'm going to add more things to this cover, but what I did for this particular video is I went through the papers and chose sort of some of the iconic symbols and large patterns on the papers and decided where I wanted those to go, cut them and got them ready to go. So that way I would have those, you know, I wouldn't accidentally use them or cut them too small where I couldn't use them where I wanted them. So today we're going to do some of those, and I did do the cover as I mentioned. It's, I remember, oops, I believe it was 6 3/8 by 6 1/4, the mat. And I used, as you can see, this balloon paper, and I centered it on the clock, which bizarrely is not centered on that mat. So it's a little, if you're a little OCD, it might drive you crazy. I wish it had been centered, but it wasn't, and so I centered it on this clock, on this balloon. Okay, so that's that one. We already did this. I haven't chosen these smaller mats yet. I haven't chosen this mat, but I did choose this one. I love this gentleman on his bicycle, so we are going to do him here under this flap. Let me get my ink. Again, I am using Distress Ink Walnut Stain for my ink. So let me go ahead and get that inked, and we'll put it down. And I'll be using art glitter glue to put down my mats. You can use whatever you like. Okay. See. Doing that, try not to use too much glue. That's what I usually do. Okay. And I always feel like I'm always a little crooked putting down my mats, but it never seems to matter in the end. The book always looks nice. And do your best to get them straight, but don't freak out about it if you don't. Okay, there's that one. Oh, I was going to put a magnet and I forgot. Well, I think it'll be all right. I think the weight of this will hold it down. If it doesn't, I'll use some sort of embellishment and hold it down. That's my bugaboo, is I always forget to put my magnets. Okay. Haven't chosen this yet. I haven't chosen this. These I have chosen, so I can go ahead and do them. And these do need magnets. So let's go ahead and do that, so don't forget. Oops. You can use whatever magnets you like. I get mine from, oh gosh, I can't remember. It's a website online. Obviously, a website would be online. I know Country Craft Creations has the large basic grays. They would do a good job of this. Now, one thing that's going to be a little tricky is I'm going to have magnets here and here, and they're probably going to stick to each other. That's all right. I'd rather have that than have these flaps coming open. All right, so I'm just centering it about there. I want to give myself plenty of room for my mats. And so if see, that's pushing away. Thinking if I do that, I think I don't know if that might work. We'll see. Sort of bump Okay. All right, I don't know, can you see where I put it? Right about there? Okay, let's see what happens now. Okay, good, they're not sticking to each other. And then we want to put the matching magnet here. So let me just grab a couple of, these magnets are so strong, but if you want to get them apart, you pretty much have to have some sort of scrap between. Can you see that? I've just put some scraps. And then I'm going to put a little piece of tape there. And push that down. Pull the backing off of the tape. And then close it and press it down. And then, just to make sure it stays down, these are strong magnets, so it's not going to cause it any harm to have a little extra tape over them. And as you can see, as I think I mentioned in an earlier video, that I do not do well with just ripping my score tape. Okay. I usually cut it with scissors. All right. And then let's do the last one. Close that. Again, we're going to put our scraps and let the magnet stick to it. I really do need to tighten that up. Okay. Just like that. Can you see? All right, and then we're just gonna close that up. Try to let it close as gently and sort of normally as you can. Don't try to force it so that the magnet ends up in the right spot. Okay. And again, put a little bit of tape just to make sure it stays where it belongs. Okay, that's that. Good, they're not sticking to each other. Of course, there's no tilling because there's going to be a magnet on this side as well, but I think, let's see, I might be able to work with that magnet on the other side. Whoops. These magnets, I've got them on a stack, that's how they come, and they stick together so hard, it's hard to get them apart. Okay, let's see. Okay, oh, it's up here, duh. Okay, so then this one down here will be all right. They won't interfere. Okay, I'm not going to put that down yet. I guess I could, since I know it's where it's going to go. And I have a habit of leaving them off. Okay, I'm going to put that one there. Okay, there's that. These come down, and these are the mats. Okay, so that one, that one, that one, and that one to form the clock face. Right? All right, let's get those inked. And down, and oh, wait, I don't want to put these down yet. I have something I want to do with these. Hang on. Let me think for a minute how I'm going to do this. Okay, we're going to come back to these because I have something I want to do. And it has to be done before they get glued down, so we'll go back to those. All right. this is going to be the base of our pinwheel waterfall. So let's do that, and then we can do our waterfall. All right, so let's get this ink. This is the outside front cover, and as you can see, I mentioned earlier, they put nice patterns on the insides of the covers. So let's get that inked. Top and the bottom. Goes like that, I guess. All right. And let's get that inked. Oops. I'm going to put my pin back in my ink bottle. In my glue bottle. Sorry, I'm going to stick my head over because I can't see. Right, it should be straight. Okay. All right, now. Okay, so this is take 2 of this waterfall because 2 reasons. First, I managed to mess it up entirely when I was doing it, so I'm doing it again. And the second reason is I found it a little, I was afraid it was going to be hard for you to see what I was doing with the black and this sort of busy paper. So I'm going to show you what to do on another piece. So let me pull this out of the way. And let's grab, all right. Now with the black background, I find it easier to measure everything to your mat rather than to the actual black background, but you can use the black background. So here's your mat, and you're not going to do this out of the book. You're going to do it in the book like this, but I'm just showing you on a piece that's out of the book, okay? So you'll have your mat, you will have matted the book. You're going to need 4 pieces that are 3 3/4 by 4 1/4. Score the longer side at a 1/2 inch and fold it in. Okay, and I'm using score tape. Now, you're not going to mark yours with pencil the way that I have. I just did that so that you could see what I was doing. You need 2 equal distances. So in other words, this one's a 1/2 inch, this is 1 inch. So we have a 1/2 inch and a 1/2 inch. And then you can, what you'll do when you're doing this is just use your ruler and lay the 1 inch mark along the edge with any one of the lines along the 90-degree edge, the next edge. And you're going to lay your pieces using this as a guide, okay? So, let me just, actually I'm going to back up because I'm going to use the 1/2 inch mark. I'm going to actually put the 1/2 inch mark down. And then I'm going to lay it down so that it's a 1/2 inch in and 1 inch over. And technically, let me draw an arrow. So this is the top. All right, you're going to be working from the top. So you're going to want to be a 1/2 inch down and 1 inch over, okay, like that. But I just find it easier to turn it around, so I'm working from this side. Then you're going to take your next one, you're going to repeat the process. So you're going to turn it, so now this is along the top, and you're going to be a 1/2 inch down and 1 inch over. You're going to turn it again. Again, you're going to be a 1/2 inch down and 1 inch over. And then you're going to turn and do the last one. Again, 1/2 inch down, 1 inch over. Okay? So let's do that so you can see it. But before I do, I want to show you another thing. If you're just not comfortable eyeballing this, you don't want to draw lines. This is remember, this is your finished mat, so you don't want to draw lines on it. If your book is not too bulky and you can manage it, what you could do is draw cut a mat, an inner mat, that is 1 inch smaller, center it, that'll give you your 1/2 inch, then cut another mat, another inch smaller, and center it like that. Again, you're gonna have to measure carefully now if this is your method. And then you can go ahead and use that as your guide and line it up with the top is going to be the 1/2 inch down, so that's going to be lined up with the outer mat, and the side's going to be lined up with the inner mat. And then just repeat that around. Okay? If you're not comfortable using your ruler. So let us, all right, so is that clear? I'm going to go ahead now and do it in my actual book. And just double checking. I'm using my pockets to double check the top and bottom. Okay, so this is, oh, I could use my cover to couldn't I? Okay, so this is the top. And you want to work from the top, so I'm just going to turn mine around so it's a little easier for me to see. Then I'm going to put my ruler down. Remember, I want to be down 1/2 inch and in 1 inch. Okay. And, oh, well, that's going to move anyway. All right, and you don't have to be like crazy obsessive. You want it straight, but if it's a little bit off from the inch or a little bit off from the 1/2 inch, that's fine. You just need to be consistent, right? And then I'm going to use my ruler to line that up. And the reason I'm using score tape is it's a lot easier to get score tape off than it is to get art glitter glue. So if it's not centered, or there's something wrong, or I've made a mistake, which I did with the last version of this, it's a whole lot easier to get it off. All right, so we're going to do the same thing again. Put the 1/2 inch mark along the mat. And then I'm going to lift that up out of the way just to make sure I don't accidentally glue them to each other. Like that. And then this one is a little trickier. So we'll put the 4 1/2. Put the 1/2 inch there. It's going to be 3 1/2. Okay. And then this one is even trickier. Let's see. I need to be let's go this way. Take this one from the top. If you have a thinner ruler, now would be the time to pull it out. Well, it unfolds, that may help. I'm just having a hard time with that ruler. I think, I don't like to make marks, but I think I'm going to have to make a mark. 1/2 inch in. So that's going to go there. There we go. All right, so then we have this, okay, which is a pinwheel waterfall. And don't worry about these, because what you're going to do and what we're going to do is cut a mat that fits. And I don't cut it ahead because, you know, if you haven't measured exactly, so it's going to be, so it's 4 3/4, should be 4 3/4, and it is. So we're going to need a 4 3/4 by 4 3/4 mat here, and you can use just a photo mat, something plain, or you can use something decorative from your paper. Now the other thing I want to show you is, and we're going to put magnets, right, so the magnet is going to go on this one and here. And actually I'm going to go ahead and do that before I forget, because as we all know, I have a habit of forgetting. And there are a lot of layers here, so I may use, I don't know, these are pretty strong magnets anyway, but I'm thinking I might use a thicker magnet. Or at least a thicker magnet. Oops. Maybe on the base. I don't really like the thicker ones though. I feel like they really show through the paper. Oops. Okay. I'm gonna take a chance with the thinner ones. Okay. Grab some paper, some tape. Going to center that there. All right, and then let us close. Now, these are all going to be double matted, so that's a lot for these magnets to go through, but we are going to hope for the best. If it doesn't work, I'm not too concerned about it. There'll be a lot of weight to hold this down. Whoops. Okay, let's try and get the backing off of this. There we go. All right. And then we want that one to stick to that now. Okay. And then I'm going to put a little bit of tape here. Just probably don't need extra, but whoops. Okay, hang on. See, I don't know how other people tear this stuff so easily. I have the worst time. Okay, let's put that there. All right. Okay, so 1, 2. Okay, so that's holding. Now, let me move this out of the way. Another option that you have is instead of cutting 4 of these, you can cut 8. And let me show you one that's done that way. Just in this album. And this is the same thing, but there are 8. And all you do is when you take your second set, just line them right up against the edge of the tab. I think you can see right there. And then you'll have just a double set of these and you can see there's a little bit more room here, but this is just because this is a much bigger album. Okay, move that. Alrighty, let us take a look. Let's go back here. All right, so we'll come back and finish matting that later. And then we're going to move on, and I'm gonna splice this in to this video because, as I said, this is the second take, and then we'll see how much time we have left, and we'll come back and do the next part. Okay, now this is this, and we could put down our secretarial pocket. Let me show you how to make that. We'll glue that and get it out of the way, and then we'll do that. All right, so what you want to do is cut a rectangle that is 4 3/4 by 5 3/4. Okay, so get this out of the way. Okay, so 4 3/4 by 5 3/4. Score it at a 1/4 inch, ½ inch here and here. Okay, then take. If you've got a round object like a tape roll or something like that, and mark your curve. Now, I actually wanted my curve to be shallower than anything I had. I didn't want it to be too circular, and I freehanded it. So you can do that if you want. Just leave about an inch and a half, inch and a quarter straight here, and about 2.5 straight here. Okay, because we're probably going to put a pocket here. All right, and then we're just going to glue this to the inside of our cover. All right, so just put a little dab of glue right there. Hold that down. Clean my glue off a little bit. And then we are going to glue our pockets. This is like a gigantic tuck. Okay. And then make sure you're getting it all closed. Okay. Now, one thing that I did do before I glued that down is I did trace the arc so that when I make the mat, I have a template. Okay, so there's our secretarial pocket. Now here, where I wasn't sure what I was going to do, I ended up doing what I call a short fold because I wanted to use this train, which I just love, and it was far too wide. So I made a small flap, just gonna go here, and then I'm gonna put the rest of it on the inside of that little flap, okay? So the flap is 2 3/4 by 6, scored at 1/2. So let's glue that down first. And you know what, I am gonna taper that. Tiny taper. I don't know why I'm getting that air bubble on the top of my glue applicator. All right, where's my pin? Forever losing my pin. Okay, well, I'll find it. All right, so this is going to go this way on the inner edge. You could put it on the outer edge, just adjust how you cut your mat. And again, leave yourself a little bit of room there. Don't put it all the way down into the binding. You don't want to cause yourself problems. Okay, that's good. Now we need to ink these. Okay, so that's going to go there. And this one is going to go there. Let's do the larger one first. Okay. Hang on. So I can see where my corner is and try to line up my paper to it. Whoops. It's a little tight. I cut that mat just a little wide. All right, and then this one is going to go here. the reason I did the larger one first is I figured I'd have a more difficult time getting that one centered than this one. And you want to match this one to that one. In other words, if this one's slightly off, as mine is, it's a little lower, make sure this one is too, because you want the pattern to line up across the flat. And actually, even if you're not using a pattern like this where the actual design is going across, you want your mats to match across a fold like that. It just looks nicer. Okay, that's that. And I suppose I could have put a magnet there, but I didn't, so I'm not going to worry about it. Okay. I'm always so anxious to get down mats. Like I said, I forget about my magnets. But I think that's going to be fine without one. Because honestly, let me see. I'd kind of like having it open when you turn the page to see the whole design. That's fine. Okay. So where are we at? All right, I think I'm going to stop for now. I think we got a fair bit done. And what we're going to do when we come back is this. And the reason I stopped and didn't put these down is I am going to, because I love this paper and I don't want to interfere with it too much, but I also don't want to have to sort of waste this whole expanse. I am going to make some cuts into these mats before I put them down, and then that will give us some tuck spots and pockets right through the mats. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do, and I need to think about it, and that's why I'm stopping now, is I think what I'm going to do is on these top ones, I'm going to cut, I think here. I was thinking either here along this curve, which actually I like a lot, so it may be along this curve, or it may be here on each of the top ones. The bottom one, I think I'm just going to cut here. I don't know if you can see. Just here for side tucks. Because if I do any cuts down here, they'll just, whatever's in there will just fall out. So I think these are going to be cut here, and these top ones are either going to be cut along this curve or here at an angle. The magnet is right there. So if I cut here, that's actually going to interfere with that magnet. I'll have to mat underneath. So I think it's going to have to be here. Yeah. All right, so these top ones are going to be cut along the curve to give us a tuck spot, or possibly just along the side, just like on the bottom. But either way, we're going to do something, and I haven't decided exactly what. So that's what we're going to do next time. Plus some of these other mats that we haven't got to yet. And we still have quite a few. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thank you.